Hi and welcome to Australian Gamers Friday Night Podcast. I'm Yug.
I'm Matt.
I'm Cav.
And tonight we'll be talking about Microsoft getting sued for Halo 3.
Asteroids is not coming to Australia.
The eGames wrap-up.
Deus Ex 3.
And Kevin 07 in the house.
And also Jack Thompson.
Oh, you bastard, seriously. First of all, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to our very special guest, Cav.
Thank you. Thank
Hi,
you very
Cav.
much. That was almost a Bruce McAvaney special, wasn't it?
It was. I was actually just trying to make you feel special.
I'm feeling it.
Okay, good. But he's flown up all the way from Melbourne just for this podcast.
That's not funny.
What isn't?
When you say that, like you've said that before, and it's funny once, but like a lot of other jokes, with the exception of the Jack Thompson, we mean
you see,
attorney
I was
Jack
just
Thompson,
about to say two things. First of all, yes, you say that Jack Thompson thing every
That's
time.
That's funny every time.
And second
That's
of all,
the difference.
I just assume that people they listen to our podcast and they never listen to it again. So every time it's a new audience.
That's a good point.
Uh-huh.
That's probably true.
Thank you. That's it. I got nothing.
Where are we going with that?
You can say stuff.
I'm confused now.
You're confused.
How are you?
Good.
How are you?
How do you like Brisbane?
Confusing. Circle work. I love the one-way streets. They're great.
Do you not have one-way streets in
Oh,
Melbourne?
we've got them, but not as many as you guys do.
Yeah, but you've got trams. You can get hit by a train just crossing the road. We can't. You got to try hard to get hit by a train here.
That's true.
Yeah,
you actually have to
could.
walk on tracks. You have to go out of your way to get hit by a train. Tram.
Tram.
Yeah, they're
we
called.
in Melbourne, we
they
hit people
really
with
are.
trams.
They really are pretty much just mini trains.
Hey, that's my next Big Bond game idea. Tram death.
Tram death?
Tram
Yeah,
death, nice.
yeah.
Because I know that like Oren does the trains game sort of thing.
Yeah,
true.
You think
Trams,
more,
that'd be an interesting...
Your Trams arcade game or Trams
Do
simulator?
you know what would be so awesome about
What
Trams
would be so
as a game?
awesome? Tell me.
They don't really turn much, do they?
They do. Yeah.
I thought they just pretty much went down these one single straight line.
No, it's not
Man, it's a stressful job, driving a tram.
You run into the back of someone and end up with some woman's arm getting cut off. That could
exactly.
happen.
I've seen people with injuries.
You've seen tram injuries?
Was it
people with injuries.
Awesome.
I think
like
it was,
what?
No, I
Like,
think it was
I wanna
Shush that was actually telling me that he's actually seen people get collected by trams.
Yeah.
before.
He said he saw
And
a
it's,
guy
it's
just...
quite traumatic. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lady leg under a tram.
Wow.
A gentleman who's strained his whole arm as the tram braked, and he kept going, grabbed the rail inside, and
That's not... Yeah, that one's not as good. The leg one
not
was
as good as the
though.
lady. Yeah.
Awesome.
was-
You are absolutely right. There certainly is a game potential in that idea.
Tram death.
But
Tram death.
we should probably talk
Like
about the kind of
Frogger.
stuff that
Serious stuff.
But with trams.
we said we're going to start. I'd actually like to start with eGames and just sort of start with that because we missed our podcast last week. And our 100th podcast, people may have noticed it was a little bit short.
It was on the short side.
And in retrospect, I do apologize. We do apologize for that. But we also were pretty damn busy at the time.
We didn't want to do a short podcast, but we were crammed for time. We just couldn't run too long.
It sucks. I felt really bad. I think I can't remember who it was on the forum that was actually saying that they paid to come on the Sunday just to see our podcast.
Just to see the podcast. So yeah, we
really
feel bad for that.
Like, we are
Not
sorry.
bad enough to remember who it was.
No,
but,
obviously
but
not.
relatively bad still.
But yeah, look, it was short, but it was still our 100th, and in true Australian Gamer style, I think we got there just limping and just horribly crawling over the finish line, sort of thing.
Yeah. We
not victoriously.
We said we'd do a podcast, and we did.
Yeah,
that's pretty much what happened there. It is a pity we couldn't run longer. It's a pity we couldn't. And actually, someone was telling me on MSN, they're like, "Oh yeah, I heard your 100th podcast." And I'm like, "Yeah, cool." And he's like, "Wasn't very good." I'm like, "Yeah, we ran a little short, and we didn't have time." And he's like, "No, it just wasn't very good." I'm like, "Thanks for your support."
Bit harsh, but the rest of eGames was good. We've got reports that are going up on the site soon, and just while we're on the podcast, I would like to say a big thank you to all the team, Australian Gamer team especially, and everyone else that actually helped us out at our booth and things like that. Well, I'll do a proper big thank you list and everything like that, but also a big thanks to Cav the Spruker.
Yeah, Cav was good.
Who I believe gave...
Sell.
Yeah.
Sell.
You gave out our flyers to every man, woman, child, and every other booth out there. I
He
think
had a theory: take a lolly, take a flyer.
Yeah, we had lollies, and Cav wouldn't give people lollies unless they took a flyer, so they took flyers.
took the hard sell sort of thing.
So it worked.
Yeah.
Worked.
Yeah, it was good.
It was a good weekend. The Friday, Saturday that I was there. I apologise for Sunday, but
you don't have to apologise for not being able to be there.
Yes, we're not looking at anybody, are we, Samo? Oh, sorry, no, I won't go there. No, it was a great weekend. It was great stuff to see. And
Samo, what about Oracle? We flew him down and he didn't show up. Hi, Oracle.
Yeah. No, but it was a good weekend with heaps to see. And upcoming stuff. The Wii, having a great time. The Wii Zapper bloke, he was intense.
I talked to him a bit. The guy himself was, I can't remember his name.
Are you talking about Callum or the...
No, not Callum, the other guy who was really enthusiastic about it. He was really cool, and he actually goes around to all the road shows as well.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, there's a lot to be, of fun to be made of someone that stands up there and is really hardcore with the Wii Zapper sort of thing.
Yeah.
But hey, that's what it's. That's what it is.
And he's getting paid.
Well, his job is to be enthusiastic for Nintendo.
And my God, were the Nintendo fans in force on that main stage.
Well, the Swinburne people were relatively crazy.
Yeah,
we actually really liked introducing Nintendo because there was a big crowd of enthusiastic supporters to rev up and
I really
enjoyed.
I enjoyed doing stage stuff much better this year actually, and especially you're right. Nintendo and the Guitar Hero comp went off as well.
that
was great.
That was good.
It's unfortunate that Cav actually one of the winners of one of the comps that was a kid. Cav, you wanted to grab him and put him on your shoulders.
On the shoulders. I actually wanted to stage dive, but nobody wanted to catch me.
That's actually pretty reasonable.
Admittedly, though, if you stage dive on top of the people sitting down, they wouldn't have been able to avoid you.
They would have been too slow to get out of the way.
They would have had no choice but to actually, attempt to catch you when you're
cover themselves, protect themselves.
Yeah, their survival instinct at the very least would have saved you.
Yeah, exactly. But so look, there's going to be a full-on feature on eGames, and we've got lots of video footage that we've been too lazy to put up
there already.
There are so many photos. I've actually decided we've got 300 photos taken from the AG camera.
Wow.
And we've been sent photos from like about 3 other users. And Cav's just given me even more photos. I don't know what to... Yeah, users.
I'm just thinking, like, what sort of users? Drug users? Heroin addicts?
That's where your mind goes to first.
No, just users. What's a user?
Users, readers. Users of our site.
Readers I'm okay with, but users just to me
They use us.
They use us.
They do.
I feel dirty.
Because that's what I'm thinking. Like, you talk about someone as a user. Oh, they're a user. They use people and then discard them.
You don't feel used?
Yeah, but in a good way.
Who says I meant in a bad way? Anyway, all right, come on, let's move on a little bit.
No, let's not. Let's talk about eGames for a little bit longer. What did we think of eGames? No one's actually said except for saying, yeah, it was good. What did you think of eGames?
Okay, personally, I thought it was the best gaming expo in Australia I've ever been to.
Right.
And we've been
fairly
to them all.
qualified. It's like saying, on a Thursday that started with E. There's not that many in Australia, and it wouldn't have to be great to be the best. Let's be honest.
That the good thing about eGames was that all the games, at least 1/4 of the games that were there weren't out yet.
Yeah,
and
that's
true. At least
true.
another 1/4 were games that had been released that week.
It sucks when you go to an event or something and get the honour of playing games that have been out for a month and a half. That's really annoying.
And it was a gamers event. There was a lot of just games there. It was really cool. There was, as opposed to like eGames last year, I really enjoyed it, but like there seemed to be a lot of hardware manufacturers, and it was all about the new systems and the new consoles, and the games kind of got pushed to the side. This year, it was all about the games.
It's also worth pointing out that because there was the new hardware coming, like last year, the Wii was just about to launch, I believe, when we were there.
Well, last eGames, there was no PlayStation 3 either.
Yeah, and there was no PlayStation 3 in Australia.
And I could... I could compare eGames to Game 1.
Don't.
But it's a car show, so...
and I could compare it to Go 3, but like I said, eGames has games.
Yeah, and isn't in Perth.
And isn't in Perth.
Which is important. The only good thing in Perth is Brett, as far as I can tell. And even him, I'm kind of dodgy on. But I was going somewhere. I was going somewhere with what I was saying before, which is that last year we did have the Wii coming out and the PS3 coming out, which meant they didn't have any games. There was really nothing much to show. I did think there were a couple of disappointments, though. One was that Microsoft, I didn't think were there as strong as they should have been. If anyone has some titles to spruik at the moment, it's Microsoft, and
that
should
was
have been there.
disappointing. I mean, the upcoming. I mean, they got Project Gotham Racing 4, which had just come out. Obviously, Halo 3, but that's sort of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But they had Mass Effect coming out that week.
Yeah.
They got the Viva Pinata game, the new one from Chrome, actually, a local developer
Yeah,
sort
yeah.
of thing.
They had no reason and no justification for not having a massive presence there.
The
biggest game,
they're
it
Microsoft,
really,
so
really is the biggest Australian games expo, I would say.
Yep.
You could say that something like Game 1 is close in terms of the size of the overall event when combined with Auto Salon, but that doesn't count.
Well,
as a gaming event, it's not
this
that.
year especially. Gav, you went to Game 1 in Melbourne and eGames in Melbourne. So
Yeah.
what's your take on the gaming expos?
eGames by a long shot. Game 1 was a thing you could do in half a day, and I pretty much did.
Yep.
I was there from 12 and left at 5, and I could have easily left at 3.
Would you have paid to go to eGames?
Paid to go to eGames?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, if we didn't get you in by sneaking you through the door while I distracted the female security guard with my sexy eyes, would you have paid
that
to
female
go?
security guard?
Yeah.
That female security, that was a guy.
Damn it. Yeah. Anyway, would you have actually paid to go?
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah? So there we go. You would have thought that was your money's worth and all good.
It's really hard to make a comparison from last year, as last year I came as a spectator.
Yeah, see,
this time I was there as an exhibitor,
True,
as my
true.
past
it
said.
does make a big difference as well when
Your
you're
whole
actually
mindset
there.
I
is
would
really
say
different.
that last year, from the way I saw it, eGames was bigger last year.
Ooh,
Really?
okay, yep.
I don't know, because probably...
I think because Nintendo's presence last year was so strong, they were showing off the Wii to people who hadn't even seen it before. You were seeing
Why do you think it was
new
bigger last
things
year?
I don't know, but Microsoft had, 200 plus Xboxes set up around the place to play.
12.
12.
Microsoft alone, their stand last year
No,
was 12.
actually, but
12.
this is
As
something.
an
But there were
Xbox
a lot
Total
around.
Xbox head count?
Yeah.
This is actually something that I was actually told was, yes, in Microsoft's booth, for example, this year at eGames, they had 3
Yeah.
Xboxes set up, yes. But all the other, the big tournament, the console tournament area, and any other booth that had Xboxes on them, they were given to them, lent to them by Microsoft.
Yeah, Microsoft had this big
Microsoft
pool
had
of
actually
360s
provided,
that-
like all these other 360s, but that doesn't excuse them not having a big presence of their own,
Yeah.
No,
or having an empty Master Chief
That's what they
head.
should be doing as well.
It's 2 weeks in a row that was empty. It was empty the week before at Game 1 too, just sitting there all inflated.
I mean, I guess it looks cool, but
It is a gigantic Master Chief head. It's bigger than the Legendary Edition one. That's a plus.
that is a plus. It can
You
fit
could
on.
fit 2 cats in
two
the big one.
To get some tigers.
But yeah, okay. Well, like, have we?
We're done.
We're done with
We're
it.
done.
We can move on.
Like, we could talk about it all night because there was a lot to talk about. But I
we
just
want
think,
you to get on the forum and read it.
yes,
When it goes up.
When it goes up.
Also, we'd
Um,
like to get this podcast done at some stage ever.
Yes.
There
So-
is a bit of that. So Microsoft sued for Halo 3. What's this about? I don't know.
A guy in California, I believe.
Yeah, don't look at us, man. We
Look
don't
at
know.
me, I've been out of...
Sorry, for some reason I thought you knew this. A guy in California, I believe it was, found that Halo 3 was causing his machine to skip and thus is suing Microsoft for $5 million.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Now, it's not him specifically suing. It's actually a class action, which is not quite the same thing. A class action is basically when you decide these people have been harmed. The most common example of a class action is someone like smokers suing, or people who live in this general area where there's a chemical spill or something.
Or people who
And
listen
they
to our podcast.
Or people who have been harmed by our podcast.
So
yeah.
I could actually rally all the people that live in this apartment complex to sue you because we feel like we're harmed, we're
Yes.
emotionally distressed
Yes.
by having to live in the same area as you.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes, that could in fact be done. That is exactly what it would be for. So say I was to, for example, be me and lower the
Yeah.
property values accordingly,
Yes.
and you owned property here, you
Yep.
would you could sue me for the damage that's been done. Now he has sued on behalf of people who bought Halo.
So does that mean that we get a cut?
No, it only covers states. So only in California.
So does that mean everyone in California
Everyone
that
in
bought
California who bought Halo could potentially receive a cut of this money unless they... I think they have to be informed of the case and they have to sign in or out.
But does that mean that sets a precedent and that then we could therefore, or every other state could then sue them in the same
we're Australia
respect?
and there's no jurisdiction there. Secondly, no, I don't believe state class actions affect jurisdiction unless it was applied federally, which is quite common.
Okay. I don't know. All this legal stuff sort of going over my head now.
Quite complicated and really boring. But the point is, some goose has decided to sue Microsoft for $5 million because he thought Halo had some bugs.
I reckon we should sue Microsoft. Be good publicity.
I know they say there's no such thing as bad publicity, but I think you're wrong about that whole plan.
Nah, it'd be fine.
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong with suing Microsoft?
I don't know. What?
Put a new word to class action.
Yeah. We'll
Real
put
class.
the arse in class action. We will.
No. Okay, well, no, I'm serious. Why can't... can we sue someone?
We could, yeah.
Cheaper than putting an ad in a magazine.
We'd have to sue someone good, and we'd have to sue someone good for something
For a good reason.
Yeah.
Could we sue the Australian government for not having an R rating? Could we sue the...
We could probably sue Michael Atkinson.
Can we sue
on
Michael
civil rights
Atkinson?
grounds, yeah.
Can we do that?
We could.
Does that
possibly.
cost money?
Yes.
How much?
A bajillion dollars. I don't know how much money it costs.
Why? No, you know all this legal stuff.
Law. You would have to hire an attorney. You would have to file all the papers and stuff.
Hey, if there's any attorneys listening to this podcast,
it's worth pointing something
let
out
us know.
though. As far as us hiring a lawyer,
yes.
Michael Atkinson is a lawyer.
Yeah.
And is the lawyer for the government.
No, we don't have to hire a lawyer. There will be someone who listens to this podcast that's a lawyer and will want to get in on this with us.
Who thinks that we can sue?
Yes.
If someone is listening to our podcast and is a lawyer, wait.
It's like
bear with me.
Yeah, okay.
And thinks it's a good idea to sue the Attorney General of the state, I don't want him as my lawyer.
Why not?
Because the man who has that lawyer for a lawyer has a fool for a client. It's all complicated, but
there's a bumper sticker in that.
Yeah, the man who represents himself in court has a fool for a client. There's an old saying.
I don't care. It's like any of those celebrity...
Okay, short answer. No, you're an idiot.
Oh, whatever. Asteroids not coming to Australia.
Yeah, that's it. That's kind of the end of that.
I can take the black plastic off the windows now. I'm glad you got it.
It took me a second, but I'm like, it's funny because asteroids are real.
I'll just let the old guys laugh about this.
Thank you,
How's that? Yeah.
Yes.
Deus Ex 3.
Wait. There was a point to the asteroid thing. It's being released everywhere except Australia and Mexico. I just thought that was funny.
And Mexico.
Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Australia, New Zealand, and Mexico aren't getting it. Don't know. Something to do with PAL.
When you say Australia, New Zealand, and Mexico...
I know. How random is that?
No, hold on. Does that mean that everywhere else in the world is getting... Does that mean that Jamaica is getting it before
I don't know.
Australia?
I think it's real countries only.
Right.
Yeah, some countries don't count.
Right, fair enough.
But Jamaica's not a real country. It's like Timbuktu. It's one of those sort of fake countries, Transylvania.
No way.
Jamaica.
They're in cool runnings. They had a movie.
And a bobsled.
And if there was a movie with Jamaicans in it, it's a real place.
Dude, I saw a movie about Narnia recently.
It's a real place.
It's in a cupboard.
It's in my cupboard.
Movies set in cupboards aren't real.
Yes, they are. Yeah. Deus Ex 3.
Yes. Everyone
Deus Ex.
expected me to be excited about this.
I don't know. How do you pronounce it?
It's pronounced like Jew,
Yes.
as in the race, and then sex.
Deus Ex.
No, not Jew. Jew. Jew sex.
Deus Ex.
Jew sex.
Deus Ex.
As in having sex with Jews.
What's that even mean?
Nothing.
I thought it was Deus Ex.
It's Deus Ex, yeah.
So I always thought it was Deus Ex though.
It's
until
actually,
you corrected me.
It's
as
actually,
you always.
It's actually a really
do.
clever name if you know the original Latin, which because I'm such a goddamn nerd, I do. Sorry, not Latin, Greek. Deus Ex Machina is what it actually is short for.
Right.
And it's when they used to have this thing in Greek theatre where they would go. Carl is probably the only person who would actually get the reference.
Yeah.
But, they would have this thing where all of a sudden at the very end there'd be this machine that hoisted up someone from behind the stage, and that would be a god who would then fix everything that just happened, or bring back to life the guy who just died, or stupid, kind of the equivalent of and he woke up and it was all a dream.
Okay.
That kind of trite, corny ending, and it's the Deus Ex Machina is a machine that raises a god. So.
Yes, very clever.
Quite a cool. I always thought that was clever.
It is very cool. It's just.
It does, however, reference Greek theatre and.
I know you sort of lost me a little bit there,
so
and Cav's struggling as well. Like it's like.
No, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
I think it's
wrong
cool.
audience,
Anyway,
yeah.
it's my favourite. My favourite game was Deus Ex. I loved it.
And this, did you ever play Cav?
No.
Oh, okay. So you completely over the head with this one.
Do you
even care about it, or?
I've bought it 4 times.
You bought it 4 times?
Yeah, I've played it. Played all the way through 3, and I've bought it 4.
That doesn't even make sense.
It really doesn't. You know, in Conspiracy Theory, how he has to go in and buy a copy of Catcher in the Rye every now and then?
Yeah.
That's me with Deus Ex. I see Deus Ex and I have to buy it.
You got delusions of grandeur now, is that?
No, why? What's that?
Because in Conspiracy Theory, it was like he kept buying it because he was brainwashed to actually have to buy
but
them.
delusions of grandeur are not the same thing.
Isn't delusions of being more than what you actually are?
Not. Well, yes, but where's that grandeur? Why is buying a game grandeur?
Stop. We're not going to continue on this, otherwise we'll continue on for 5 minutes, and that's just not cool. Deus Ex 3, I just want to say I'm very excited about it. I think it'll be really cool.
I just want to say
looking forward to
they broke
playing
my heart
it
with the
because
second one.
You didn't even play the second one.
Yeah,
that's right.
You
didn't play the second one.
Do you know what was wrong with the second one? It wasn't the first one.
You decided to buy the first one 4 times instead of playing the second one. Don't get me wrong. I did play the second one. I didn't finish it. And I do admit that, yes, it was nowhere near as grand, as epic as the first game. It had its flaws, but it was a new graphical engine. It was still fascinating to play. The story was really cool.
I would actually like to play it now. I'll be honest. I'd like to go back and play it. Because when it came out, my computer couldn't really run it very well.
It was on the console.
On what console?
The Xbox.
Yeah, but I don't think it would look very good on the Xbox. And I don't like console shooters. I think they are made of arse.
It's not really a shooter, so you can play it however you want, Matt.
Okay, whatever. I'll buy it on the PC. It's got to be like $8 now, surely.
Probably, yes.
So
Actually, I think they're paying people $8 to take it.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
They're going to buy back. They'll have your 4.
Whereas, by contrast, the original Deus Ex is $10 to buy. You can actually buy it for $10.
But that's fair enough. That's like StarCraft still being like $50 in a pack to buy, sort of thing. The timeless classics, they never really go down in price. Don't look at me like that.
JB, $10.
No, there's like you get the battle chest. StarCraft, Brood Wars. Yeah. I think that's it actually, and it's always been decently priced and still on sale.
$50, like Diablo. $50.
Yeah,
battle chest.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they've got it for World of Warcraft now too. They've got a World of Warcraft battle chest, which is good because it has the titles on DVD, which makes me happy because there's like 112 CDs for the damn thing. I actually get the demo version and install that.
Yeah,
and
that,
because
yeah.
it's
the $2 one.
But why would you do that? You never uninstall the game.
Hey, I've had to format my machine in the past and stuff like that. So yeah, I have had to.
Yeah, that's right. Everyone else is shaking their heads.
All right, let's move on. I was just going to say that it doesn't impress me all that much because I'm optimistic. But
okay, well, I'm really looking forward
to it. I'm cautiously optimistic, let's say that. I'll wait till I see some actual footage of the actual game.
Okay, fair enough. But even the name alone is enough to actually get me excited, personally.
Because it's Greek.
Because you can't pronounce it.
Hey, screw the both of you. Our last topic, and then we're going to answer some questions from the forums.
Second last topic.
We're not talking about Jack Thompson.
Yes,
we don't have time. Okay, get it out of the way. What?
His trial started yesterday.
Great. Anything else?
Done.
Okay, good. Kevin07 is in the house. K-Rudd. We thought this is the Australian Gamer podcast, so we thought we should actually mention the fact that there is a
pretty significant event.
Yeah, there is a new Prime Minister.
There is a changing of the guard.
The majority of actual listeners or Australian Gamer might not even remember when there was a different Prime Minister to John Howard.
Might not even be old enough to vote.
It would have been, Keating then, wouldn't it?
It was Keating. Yeah, it was Keating, and before that it was Hawke.
Yeah.
So Hawke and Keating, and then wasn't there some controversy with Keating and?
Well, Keating kicked out Hawke, but that's...
And he groped the Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this is the thing. Like, someone,
That's an Australian
I think I
thing to
read
do.
about it somewhere. Like, you've got all the prime ministers. Bob Hawke is in the Guinness World.
No,
Records.
it was the GDAA speaker.
Oh yeah,
remember?
it was. That's right. Bob Hawke is in the Guinness World Book of Records.
For like the most beers in it.
No, it was like chugging out of a beer,
A yard glass.
a yard glass faster than anyone else. Like, he holds the record for chugging beer out of a yard glass.
Yeah.
And Paul Keating grabbed the Queen on the arse.
Yeah, these are Australian.
They're
things to do.
Australian,
This is
this
the
sort
sort
of
of thing we
thing.
can get behind.
So yeah, I can't remember. Did John Howard do anything or?
No, that's the point. He
Oh,
didn't
okay.
like him because of that. He's
He
not
didn't
very
do anything.
Australian.
He didn't step up.
He didn't
He didn't
step
step up.
No.
No.
He's got to at least break the beer drinking record across the Atlantic or something
the yard
like
glass
Booney,
is
you know.
taller than him.
But Kevin, that's
Yeah,
right.
true.
Kevin Rudd went into a strip club.
That's not too bad.
It's not too bad.
Yeah.
I'll sort of pay that sort of thing, Had his little thing over in, is it Vegas or?
But he wasn't the
wherever he
man
was.
while he did it, though.
Doesn't matter though. It's neither was
No,
Bob
neither
Hawke.
was Hawke. No, so that was
It's
why I
just
was
it's more the reputation that follows that along sort of thing. Yeah, that is pretty cool. Wasn't Bob Hawke a cricketer as well?
He got bounced in
my
the eye
God.
many years ago and busted his glasses. I remember seeing
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it was a
Really?
demo match of some
friendly,
kind, wasn't
yeah.
it? Yeah.
Oh.
Exhibition match, that's
took,
what they call
Took a
it.
bouncer and
Yeah.
smashed his specs and went down like...
I can't remember who was the bowler, do you remember?
No.
Can't remember. It was someone quite famous, like an actual
Aussie
cricketer.
Aussie cricketer?
Yeah, an actual Aussie cricketer, and who felt really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you
Because
know.
Bob Hawke,
Unless
I
you
liked
didn't vote
Bob
for
Hawke.
it.
I liked Bob Hawke. I think he's the last Australian, Prime Minister, but almost politician who had even a spark of charisma to him at all. Plus, he was an avowed atheist, which is interesting.
It's interesting.
Yeah, which considering the fairly high level of Christianity in the current crop of politicians.
Still nowhere near as difficult as doing that over in the
No,
States.
you can't.
Of course, but-
Yeah, you can't do it at all.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, let's just, move this along quickly.
To gaming.
Is there anything that the new government actually brings to Australia in terms of gaming? Now, I know that Kevin Rudd is a very strong supporter of rolling out broadband, right? The broadband
Yep.
in every house or anything like that, right? Computers in every school or every house or something like that, or is it
Computers
A
for high
computer
schools
for
or
every
something?
child. I
computer
think was
for
the
every
thing.
child? And the other interesting thing is Senator Conroy,
Yep.
that we met
We
at
met at
the
the GDAA
GDAA dinner, is now the
The Minister for Broadband Communication, the Internet, and Global Internet Porn.
that's the official title.
Yes.
Excellent.
Better buy another door.
Yeah, yeah. Stapled underneath.
But I also know that Labor never really fully supported any sort of R18 rating or anything like that. Like they
Do
were
you mean Liberal or Labor?
Labor actually.
No, you're right. Neither party does.
Well, Liberal never even said anything about it. Labor said, "Look, it's something we will most probably look into if we get into power."
No, they didn't.
No, yes, they did.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
This
Did
is
so.
the most intellectual debate we've had for a while.
They
Did not.
Did
Uh-huh,
so.
your
Did
mum.
so. Did so. Did so.
Yeah.
Did
No.
so times infinity.
All right, that wins because there's nothing bigger than infinity,
Yeah.
and therefore your argument is the stronger.
Sweet. But yeah, is there anything else? Anything?
No, neither party. I don't think either party will look into it.
Okay.
Bear in mind, it doesn't even matter if they do. They can look into it all they like. They can push for it. They can, blah blah blah. We've still got Michael Goddamn Atkinson sitting in
That's true.
Adelaide, basically
Yep. That's okay. We'll sue
putting
him.
his
It's all good.
thumb up the arse of Australia.
We'll sue him. It's all good.
True.
We get a lawyer.
We'll get a lawyer. We'll sue
get.
him.
What's that guy that defended Chappelle Corby? Bahapman
Bang, bang.
Bang Bang Bahudi.
What?
I don't know the crazy guy. That
Can I just say for the record, what do we really want? The guy who defended
Yes!
Chappelle Corby?
Yeah, he was awesome.
But
We want the guy who defended OJ.
yeah, we want him.
But
If
yeah.
the glove fits, you must acquit.
But yeah, look, new government and everything like that.
I don't think it'll make a goddamn bit of difference because it's a different Conservative government, but it's still a Conservative government. It's not like we've now got a gamer in the house. I mean,
although he is a bit more hip and cool and with it.
oh yeah, but look at him, man. I mean,
He looks
Yeah,
like
he
Mr.
looks
Sheen.
like you in 20 years' time.
he does. He looks like me when
Okay.
the tiny bit of life still left in me has been sucked out. Actually, as the guy we were watching the other day said, he does look like a South Park character. And I thought that was actually a pretty good point.
That's pretty fun. Who'd you vote for?
I voted for for Rudd. I've always been a Labor voter.
Okay.
It is also a secret ballot, and you're not supposed to say it.
You didn't have to answer.
No, I didn't, but I don't care. Who knows that?
Okay.
But yeah, no,
Fair
I
enough.
voted Rudd.
Okay, fair enough.
Because he had one thing that I thought was important. He's not Howard.
Yep, there is that.
That's pretty much how I voted.
No, fair
Guy
enough.
who isn't Howard. Tick 1.
Yep. No,
How do
fair
you tick
enough.
1? I guess that's...
Box marked 1 tick.
Box mark 1, yeah, whatever.
All right, we're running a bit over time, which kind of makes sense because we ran way under time in our
so
last
we're
podcast.
making
But
This is actually podcast 100.
101.
Podcast 101, but it's also podcast 100.5, I think. Because it's got the other half of the
Well, we
podcast
can't
100.
go that long over time, so I think
We
that
always
will
do
completely
anyway.
bore anyone, but
We
yeah,
have to go
anyway.
3 minutes overtime to
Whatever.
make
3 minutes.
45 minutes. Anyway,
Anyway,
we have some questions that we wanted to cover
yes,
very
okay, we
quickly.
got just a couple of questions from the forum sort of thing. First up is Retro Man. Do you read comics besides your own, that is? Personally, I try and avoid...
Are we talking about webcomics?
I don't know. Personally, I
Just
try
be
and avoid
them.
looking at our comics any more than I actually have to. I don't really like my own comics all that much.
Thankfully, there's only 7 of them anyway.
Thankfully, they don't come out very often.
Yeah.
So, I used to read Penny Arcade all the time, but I hardly ever do these days. I don't know. I actually
I
just
flick through them every now and then and kind of catch up, but that's about all.
I don't really find any webcomics all that
I
funny.
love XKCD. That is the best webcomic in the world.
I used to read a lot of Sinfest.
Sinfest used to be good. I kind of lost interest in that.
I've never been a comic reader.
Really?
Online, no.
And there's another
Until
one.
I got to ours.
The Perry Bible Fellowship, I believe it is.
I don't know.
The best, wrongest, most screwed up comics ever. They're so good.
In terms of non-online comics, anything by
Actual real comics.
Frank Miller has got my attention these days, to be honest. I started reading some old stuff like the original Watchmen stuff. If anyone knows any of that kind of stuff, there's a movie coming out about that soon. So
I just wanted to say that while in Melbourne, I actually bought my first comic book ever.
Yeah,
I
this
never
is
bought
sad.
one before, and it's really sad. I bought the Buffy comic book.
That's sad.
I know.
I was
I know.
excited when you
huge-
said comics, but then
You don't understand. If he's not playing World of Warcraft, he's watching Buffy.
That is true.
Okay.
I've watched the whole of Buffy through at least 3 times. I'm watching it again now.
See, Buffy.
If I was at home right now, I would be either playing World of Warcraft or working while watching Buffy.
Buffy in itself is not sad. It's actually quite a funny show. But Matt's obsessive compulsive disorder when it comes to Buffy, that's sad.
Yes.
Okay.
Moving along.
I'm not even going to defend myself.
No,
here.
no, don't.
Yep.
You can't. Cypher asks, what will be a likely Christmas deal in EB and other game retailers, and what Christmas deal would you like to have?
I don't know.
PlayStation 3 with cheap games. Actually, no, I
For
don't-
the current price of the PlayStation 3, I think a fair deal would be a PlayStation 3 and a blowjob.
okay. Buy one of the stuff from EB Games.
As long as you can pick the staff,
Right.
that'd be okay.
Alright, fair enough.
You'd be going to specific EBs, travelling around going, you'll do?
Yep, sure.
I'd go to the Indrapilli EB.
EB and Game Traders and Game, would they all have the same sort of thing deal, or?
They'd have to price match, surely.
It's a good thing Anna's away for Christmas.
Yeah.
Man.
Anything else to add to that?
No.
Kind of,
What can you possibly add to that? Really?
JB looks good, but we're going to work out what JB stands for now.
Yeah.
eh?
Get a BJJB this Christmas.
Retro Man, what is the difference between SmackDown vs. Raw 2008 Dirty Edition and SmackDown vs. Raw 2008 High Flyers Edition? Cav, you are the SmackDown vs. Raw expert in the room.
You know everything about
You
them
know
from
everything.
what
You
we
are
understand.
you on your T-shirt, on your cartoon characters T-shirt is WWE
The
or
WWE.
F or
I would
whatever it is.
say the difference between those two would be the T-shirt you get in the box, and that would be about it.
You're guessing, aren't you?
No, because I have the High Flyer version with the blue T-shirt,
Oh,
and have not seen the dirty version.
okay.
Probably an unwashed T-shirt.
Well, I was
Yeah,
just going to
exactly.
say, T-shirt's dirty.
It's old
Yeah.
dirty stock sort of
Yeah.
thing. So.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Shop soiled.
Just on the topic of that, actually, we will be doing a competition pretty soon. Cavs reviewing the game, and once that's up, you got a signed T-shirt.
An autographed tour T-shirt from the last tour, autographed by the Highlanders, Robbie and Rory McAllister.
Yeah.
I thought there could only be one.
That's what I thought.
Fair enough.
But it looks
No,
like
no,
with
actually,
my mug
they
between them,
kinda-
it looks like 3.
They kind of made a truce. You know, they said, "Oh, look, you know, let's just, you know, we both want to live." Sort
Yeah,
of thing,
maybe.
so
You
let's
You have
just,
to make a truce after Sean Connery pretends to be a Spaniard.
Yeah. Why would you do that? Seriously.
But all that aside, yeah, we got an autographed T-shirt, Mickey James, the classic hacksaw Jim Duggan. If anybody remembers him, a lot of blank looks.
You
around
look at the
No,
whole
look,
crowd.
yeah, it's-
Although I did go to the Brisbane.
He was the
thing
guy
at
with the
Brisbane.
flag and the big beer gut.
He was cool.
Got a great photo of my lovely wife and him. That's an awesome pic.
He was cool. I dug him.
He's a good bloke. He seems like a real nice bloke.
Just moving on. Lord Halo Nerd asked a few questions. What is the most... And yes, we did mention your name. What is the most traumatic
He's
event...
probably masturbating right
What is
now.
Oh, God.
And for everyone else listening, as you're listening to this, there's a...
What is the most traumatic event when we were kids? What about now?
Yeah, now it's pretty traumatic. What's
Sorry,
the most
dude.
traumatic event you ever had when you were a kid? It's a good question. Matt, did
Can
your
it
daddy
be-
ever touch you inappropriately? Or your mummy, for that matter?
No matter how often I ask, no. Can it be not as a kid? Can it be as an kind of a young
For
adult?
you, it can be whatever you want.
Probably my most traumatic experience was when I was at uni and I was invited to a party and I went to the party late. I said I wasn't going to be there and I turned up late. And as I went to knock on the door, I heard through the door they were all talking about me. They're all like laughing and making jokes about what a nerd I was and stuff. That was fairly traumatic. That taught me to hate quite effectively.
Okay.
And you're
fair
getting
enough.
good at that.
I'm good at that. It's a skill.
Nice,
It's a gift.
nice.
I'm honing.
My most traumatic experience as a
Also
kid...
when my mum left, that was hard.
Oh, well, also when my dad left, that was hard. But
Yeah.
they're given sort of
Fair.
thing. And not very interesting.
No.
I think my most traumatic experience when I was a kid, and I won't get into it, but it's basically left me with a massive scar
Yeah, I know
across
this
my
story.
chest. And I don't want to get into it, but ever since then, I have had chronic fear of anything sharp. And Matt will certainly attest to this.
I think it's hilarious.
Run at me
personally.
with a butter knife and I'll scream
Yeah.
like a little girl. I shouldn't be saying this on the podcast.
No, because you'll have people running at you with knives now, which is probably worse than trying to give you hugs. Show Kev the scar.
No, it's not very big anymore, I think, but is it there?
Oh, there's a scar there, yes.
Yeah, from here all the way down to here.
That is a big...
This is a podcast, so it's not working out
Yes.
real well for the members, but
I'm
for the,
hardcore.
for the users.
But,
got
yeah.
scars
What
to
about you,
prove it.
Cav?
Rolling a car off the side of a cliff at 18 years of age.
That's awesome.
That is pretty cool,
That's
dude.
why I wanted to name my first band Datsuns Don't Bounce, but nobody would be in it. I thought that was an awesome name for a band. Nobody to be in it. But
Because not only is it cool, but it's
True.
It's true. I think the car only rolled once or twice, but I'm not too sure.
It
was a
wouldn't have
dirt
been
road.
fun, though.
Yeah, I broke my guitar. Very shattered
I
by
know.
that.
I like
Yeah.
that.
that
I like
sucks.
that. Yeah, I drove my car off a cliff and, broke my guitar.
Yeah.
My dad has a guitar that fell off the back of a motorbike at 120 miles an hour and did bounce, and it was fine.
Oh, no. This
How?
was,
Who knows? But yeah.
I
Yeah.
just bounced around the back of the car and the windscreen went in and windows went out and I climbed out and walked back up the hill using every French word that I know, twice, 7 times.
Yeah.
And my parents still
Grand
took
oui.
me to the party I was going to, and I tried to get drunk and I couldn't.
Why? Because you, like...
Adrenaline.
Adrenaline,
Oh,
yeah.
really?
I drank
Yeah.
tequila and beer and bourbon and also...
What a fantastic idea. Hey, I've just come from a car crash. Time to get drunk.
The
Actually,
problem with adrenaline, though, in that respect, is that it has to be injected directly into the heart. So as far as like hangover cures, it's not a good one.
okay, gotcha.
And Paddle Pop Lion used to scare me. That was pretty traumatic.
I got scared by Captain Hook at Disney World. Apparently, I was just terrified of him.
Captain
With good reason.
Hook.
Yeah, Captain Hook. You know from the.
Dustin Hoffman type dude.
Well, yeah, but this was before that.
I cried when I watched The Land Before Time.
Oh, everyone cried.
That's not traumatic,
I actually
man.
saw that.
That actually did traumatize me a little bit.
I
when was
actually
a kid.
saw that as a test of humanity. You know, like a capture type thing.
Yep.
To tell you were human, it asked, "Did you cry when Little
Really?
Split's mum died during Land Before
Oh,
Time?"
really?
It's like a definitive.
I
So,
did.
yeah, no.
It's like when Bambi's mother was shot, sort of thing. For the
yeah,
generation.
exactly.
But yeah,
I
no,
cried in The Fox and the Hound as well.
another game from LHN. Would AG make a game like Penny Arcade?
Well, no, because we're not that cool. But if someone asked us to, we'd certainly
When the
run
tram
with it.
game comes out, we'll tell you.
We'll have the tram game.
Yeah, actually, we could use all the characters from Australian Gamer as the tram drivers.
I'm driving.
There we go.
And
Thank you.
it could be like racing games where they have different characteristics.
Like
and different
your
that
card
kind of
game
stuff.
sort of thing. That would be
Yeah,
perfect. And you could have like actually that would be cool. A kart game with the Australian Gamer characters. Although you just have Brett, his kart would constantly be going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, but you would have to race in the wrong direction, and you would have to be faster on lap times
Yes.
than everyone else while going in the
Absolutely.
wrong direction. But you had no.
And his kart would be branded with Sega.
Yes.
Yes,
And it
of
would be a
course.
Sega Rally car. It would be an actual
Yes.
car from Sega Rally.
Yes, absolutely.
This is actually a cool idea. Let's do
it's
this.
not a bad idea.
Blows the tram away then, doesn't it?
Put it.
Yeah, but you can drive a tram because you're from Melbourne.
Oh, ding
No,
ding.
no. You get some WWF sort of like wrestler.
A
Sort of thing.
WWF car, yeah.
Crush Hour. WWE Crush Hour.
There we go. See,
Check that
There's
out.
a
Alright,
car-
whatever.
there
Check
you go,
that
yeah. But basically, to answer your question, yes, given the opportunity, we would love to make
absolutely.
any sort of game. How about you just let us regularly make weekly comics
Yeah,
just
we
to
can't
start
even
with?
draw a comic, so
Let's
let's
just
worry about that
one
first.
baby steps. All right. Did you know each other when you were teens?
No.
No.
You would have been 19 or something, wouldn't you?
Oh, sorry.
How
No.
old were you when you started? I think the correct answer to that is simply no, and Cav definitely no, so let's move on.
Yeah, okay. No, me and Matt met when I was about 19, 20. You were probably about
Well,
23,
Yeah.
something like that. Okay, just quickly powering through these. Dom is Long, where do you see the Australian gaming industry in 5 to 10 years' time?
Bigger.
What games are you
Better
playing
graphics.
right now?
I'm playing a lot of WoW, actually.
I'm amazed. WWE, SmackDown.
I'm
I
not-
stopped playing WoW for a long time. I was playing once a month.
I did my 14-day trial and no, I beat the addiction.
I'm not playing anything. I got my TV stolen from me.
Yes.
Um,
Stolen with money, though.
why do you think it is that 99% of hardcore gamers are males? Matt?
They're not.
Poor
Okay.
statement.
What sort of thing do I have to do to break into the industry? Do you accept checks? Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Send us checks.
We can absolutely guarantee that we will get you into the games industry.
Yes. Send us checks for as much as you can
Yeah,
afford.
big checks.
Everything in your
Really
bank
big
account, and
checks.
we will get you in.
Yep, this is an ironclad guarantee.
Honestly, though, you should read our developer 2R articles and get some sort of either...
Here's a crazy thought, too. Be good at something.
Yeah?
That helps.
Look, either be good at something or get into QA.
Yeah.
Mm.
Or PR or something like that.
Moving along. Cockstar, will there be an Australian Gamer Christmas party? And if so, can Cockstar come and ruin everyone's night? No, there will not be an Australian Gamers Christmas party, although I
No.
have thought about putting on... I'll talk to you about that a bit later.
Alright, okay.
Otherwise, what game has captured you this year and would you recommend as a must-buy?
Caption.
Portals.
For a start, it's Portal.
Portal.
It's a single.
I don't care.
Which is strange, because you do kind of need two of them. But it's still called Portal.
Portal. Team Fortress. Or Bioshock would be my calls.
I think that in a couple of years, Portal will be the game that everyone talks about. Like, people talk about, Mario.
Cav?
No idea. I can't think of anything that's really gone, that is awesome to me.
Really?
Skate, did enjoy Skate, but it died off after a while. It's not something you come back to.
Oh, wow.
Nothing's really grabbed me and gone, hey, I'm here.
That
I'm
being
quite
said, Super
surprised.
Mario Galaxy is apparently well worth a go.
Yeah, so we
Getting
hear
a thumbs up from Philly boy.
Philip. Just moving on to the last questions from Ruri. What do you hope will happen in 2008 in terms of gaming in Australia? That's a pretty broad question.
I just diss her.
Yeah.
We got stuff
There's a
on
lot of
time.
stuff coming out. Relatively big games, Spore, that kind of thing.
Sport Rock Band comes out in January. You've got Metal Gear Solid 4.
Is that really what the
Honestly,
question's about, though?
More of the same.
If she's
I
talking
think-
about gaming in Australia, that's why I mean it's a bit of a broad question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
dunno.
I would think just more of the same, pretty much. I can't see anything getting better in terms of... There could be some hardware, though. We could actually see the release of some new hardware. The PSP, when you think about it, is now 2 years old.
Do you reckon the PlayStation 3 will get a redesign? Or isn't there...
There's been rumours of
Rumours
a
of
PlayStation
that, yeah.
redesign, but it turned out to be just the 40 gig version. The DS is almost certain to get another revision. So there could be a few interesting rumours. What we'll probably start to see is rumours of 362 or
The 720.
the 720 or whatever. Hardware specs, new chips. Ooh, look how exciting this chip is. We're going to put it in here. That kind of stuff. I think we're going to start to hear mutters about new technology.
Maybe.
But nothing concrete for a while. It's going to be about the games for the next year.
True. Anyway, Cav's looking at his watch. He's obviously just sick and tired of doing this podcast.
Loving every minute of it, boys.
But look, we're going to wrap it up. Cav, is there anything in particular that you do? I mean, this is your moment to shine.
This
is
I
your
thought that was
opportunity.
eGames. I was shining then. I'm all shining.
were
Yeah,
shining.
but this is timeless sort of thing. Like, this is
Timeless.
going on the internet.
Oh.
It's just,
I'm shaking
everyone
at
in
the
the
knees
world
now.
is going to be listening to this. What do you have to say?
What do I have to
There's
say?
these big squares in China where they'll broadcast this.
Oh, like Times Square.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
mug's
yeah.
going to be up there underneath the Coke sign.
Yep.
Happy gaming. I've got nothing really to say. I'm a
gaming.
really
I want to
uninteresting
go.
guy.
Feeling restless.
All right,
Time to go.
Yeah.
Time to go. I think, what?
Just wanted to quickly do a shout out to two things. One is that there's quite a few kind of Australian gamery live kind of events. Cavs
The poker nights and
Cavs
stuff
poker
like that.
nights appear to have been broken by Halo 3, but there's
Call of
seems to
Duty
be
4.
Halo 3 and Call of Duty 4 events.
But
so
will they be coming back?
Oh, I'd hope so. As long as
Jump on the
Xbox
forum.
Live wants to work, yeah.
jump on the forum, grab people's Xbox Live IDs and usernames and stuff.
Yeah,
and
you know what?
Add them on and
As amazing as that sounds, even I'm going to get in on this. So
Yeah.
No,
I
you
will.
don't.
No.
Don't make
No.
promises you can't keep.
I
no.
will. I promise. I promise I will.
You have that.
The other thing that I just wanted to quickly mention, Game 1 is on this weekend. If you do make your way down there, Jay, Starks, and Carl will all be there. Now, Carl and Jay, this is going to be their first public appearance.
yeah.
Oh, actually,
we
no,
haven't
no,
met
Jay
them
was at-
ourselves.
Jay was at,
Studies Assassin's Creed.
Jay was at Assassin's Creed and also Supernova.
Yeah.
But it's a good chance to actually go and meet some Australian gamer peeps sort of thing. So if you're in Sydney,
Go and annoy them.
go check it out, go annoy them. You know what they look like. It's
yeah.
not that hard. They all look like goofs. So yeah.
I wanted to say one last thing, which is hello to Jaden. I met him on the weekend at eGames. And he cool guy, listens to the podcast. Just wanted to say hello to him.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. We'll talk to you again next week.
That wasn't hard. That shouldn't have been hard.
I know. I had a mental blank as to when we're going to do our next podcast.
Because of your brain.
Once a week.
Yeah, I know. We do it once every now and then. I'm like, so what's
But
the
we
deal with
didn't do it
podcast
last
tonight?
week.
And he's
so the
like,
thing is-
oh yeah, podcast.
oh, rubbish. Excuse me, mister.
Yeah,
You
no,
sent
that
me a
was my
message
fault.
on Wednesday saying, hey, what time's the podcast on
Yeah,
tonight?
I was
I'm
like,
like,
ready to
dude,
go.
it's
I was
Wednesday.
looking up stuff.
So anyway.
And he replied with, the podcast's on tomorrow night. I'm like, you're on tomorrow night. That was like the only response.
I'm just going to quickly say happy birthday to anybody who I've missed this week too.
Yes, because you're over in Brisbane.
Yes, I
Yeah,
have been
obviously.
paying attention.
Yeah. Very poor form.
Yeah,
And
I
happy
know.
birthday to me
Disgraceful.
tomorrow.
Oh my god.
No, I
Oh my
didn't realise
God!
that.
See, that's how much you guys pay attention to your forms.
We
I
don't
love
actually
you.
know. Well, no, I checked out. We've got a database of people that's got their details, but I don't have.
It's only
date of
the
birth for a
important
lot of
people.
As if
No,
we
it's only
actually
me and
pay
Doug at the moment. We haven't
as
filled
if
it
we
properly.
actually pay attention to anyone apart from ourselves. That's
Not even each other,
no, especially not each other.
especially not each
I've
other.
gathered that tonight. I really have.
Good. I'm glad you've got that.
Glad you've
It's-
seen the levels of hate that.
It is strong
Right,
hate.
We need to end this podcast. now and
It's
go do
already
something
ended.
else.
This is extra time now.
We're actually going to go see Beowulf, so we'll give you
Beowulf.
guys some idea what it's like afterwards.
But we've got to go because we're late. We'll talk to you later. All right. See you. Bye.
Bye.